welcome to the David Goodman's Reality and Truth Show. My name is Vanita Lambert, and I have the honor of carrying on David Goodman's legacy by hosting this show every single week. We're live on YouTube. I'd like to remind everybody of that. And we're on the government, public, and education television channels in the greater Bridgeport area. Isn't that great that I get to do this? I never thought that I would be doing this, so wasn't even on my bucket list. And the purpose of this show is to bring information to a community that was left in the shadows pretty much, that just didn't have a lot of information. And that would explain why these two handsome guys are here, Mr. Charles Bachman and Mr. John Inuzzi. They're going to give us some very, very good information on reverse mortgages and reasons to have them. Charles Bachman is our mortgage guy.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me back. They've been here a few times.
Thank you for having me again.
And we will have him again because everybody doesn't watch TV or listen to YouTube at the very same time. And it's always important to be repetitive, to repeat it, and to get the information out. And we also have Mr. John Inuzzi. He is a producer. He does many radio shows, and he's Charles' personal producer, but I'm not that jealous, just maybe a little teeny bit that he has them.
Well, I should mention again that part of the reason that Charles and I began working on the radio was because we heard your Medicare show on Radio 1400.am.
That is correct. That is correct.
I forgot about that. That's right.
So I would listen at home. I'd have it streaming on the computer while I was going through the mortgage process with Mr. Bachman.
Yes.
And I thought, what a great vehicle for the mortgage guy to get his message out there. So we kind of emulated what you did on the radio.
Awesome.
And I insisted that we be in the business we wanted you the lead in.
That's right.
So
our
show, we insisted, would air right on the heels of yours.
That's right. I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me.
And we would coattail on your audience.
Nice.
There's a synergy here.
Nice.
Yes.
There is.
Yeah.
There's a synergy of age. Our clients are
seniors.
Our seniors.
They're all seniors.
Our seniors, and that's what the synergy is, and that's why we want to get that information out there to them.
Absolutely. So, Charles, please tell us about yourself a little bit, and tell us what you'd like us to know about reverse mortgages. Before you get into that, I found another reason. Every time I have do the show with you guys, like I'll run into somebody and I think of another reason why they should have a reverse mortgage. So I have a client like that after they pass. And what can they benefit?
If she's of the proper age, above 62,
65.
65, she has that. Well, with a reverse mortgage, we would pay off the existing mortgage. Instead of her making a payment to the mortgage company every month that she probably doesn't want to do, we can pay that off and put a credit line on her house. And instead of her sending out $1,000 or $1,500 a month, plus her credit card bills that she must have, what we would do is pay off the mortgage and then send her a check every month so that she could have her best life ever, live in retirement, travel, but she has no children, right? It's just her.
It's just her.
She could
has no family.
None at all.
And she can't leave it to me. It's illegal. I mean, I know she loves me. I'm like a social worker. I go by, help her out. She lives in West Haven, so I go by and help her out and everything. But
I find on the reverses though, the people you do speak to them. It's not a one and done kind of a deal. Mm-hmm. They call you. I speak to them once a year. They call me with questions. Gee, can I pull some money out to do this or that? And I say, well, we could talk about that. And that's something, because it's an evolution with them. I mean, not a lot of people are conversing on the subject, and a lot of people in reverse mortgage originations were up 25% in the first half of 2023.
Wow.
And it's a small market to begin with, but that is a lot more originations. I mean, as when we were talking on our show, everything costs more.
Right.
Everything, gasoline, everything is up by 20%, and yet their pensions, their Social Security, their income streams are fixed. Their expenses are variable, and where the gap is where the reverse mortgage comes into play.
Exactly.
And house values are all over them. I mean,
Oh
they're
my
so
goodness.
high.
I wanted to
I
ask.
don't know how children are going to afford to buy
I don't.
houses.
They're
Well, not
not.
children, but like my son's 30. You know.
We're not, believe me. I'm kind of like that age. I'm in between, a little older than some people who are just getting out there, but I'm a little younger than people who had the opportunity to buy their houses when things were a little more feasible.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said over and over, the reason I'm sitting here right now is because this gentleman on my side here
This guy.
made that happen for us and for my family. And it was touch and go for a while, and we really were very fortunate. But I did want to say one thing. Charles gave a statistic that is very important. 25% increase in the reverse mortgage price.
In 2023, this year.
Correct, this year.
So
First
what
half.
does this mean? This means that now there's an influx of potential new clients. I don't know if you call them customers, clients, but there needs to be people to service them.
Yeah.
Now, I was on a conference call in the industry where they were training people on how to exercise the reverse mortgage, how to make it happen for people. But most of the people on that call had never done it before. And with 25% increase, a lot of these brokers, a lot of these people who are out there doing this have never successfully executed a reverse mortgage. This is why a guy like Charles is so important to sit down and talk to. He's done it.
Yeah, we've closed them.
Experience.
Yeah.
You have somebody.
I mean, think about it. If it's a 25% increase, you're going to need more people out there doing it, and they've
Exactly.
probably never done it before.
You need more originators, more processing staff, more underwriters that underwrite these loans, just across the board. But everyone's getting older. I mean, I just turned 60. So our demographic, I mean, we're just...
You'll be ready in 2 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe I can interest you in a reverse mortgage.
Essentially.
I wrote down, one of the things that I heard on that call, by the way, was help rejuvenate your customer's retirement. And I thought that was a great slogan, rejuvenate your retirement. How can retirees who want to tap into this figure out how much they can actually get?
Well, that's what we do. I mean, that's the initial conversation. It starts off with an initial conversation. Hi, I'm Julie Banks. I saw you on television. I'm interested in this product. There's a program that we have. We get in. We need to know their age, their house value, and how much existing mortgage is on the property. Those are the three variables that I need to plug in, and that's what gives me the quote as to how much equity is loanable for them. What can we pay? Do you want to pay off your credit cards? Do you want a line of credit? Do you want a lump sum? Do you just want to draft every month into your checking account? And that's, I mean, the difference on some people is $1,000 a month.
What can impact that amount? What of those variables? What changes the monthly amount?
Probably their age. Yeah, the taxes. Yes, the taxes can.
Or insurance, homeowners insurance.
And their age. Age is the big one. The older you are, the more you get. I mean, essentially.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So that's.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the older you are, the more you get. So it's the older you are, the higher your value, the more that we can do. We have a woman in Florida. Unfortunately, her husband passed away after a long illness, and she called me and she said, I want to take as much money out of the house as I can. And they have no children. No children.
There you go.
And I said, what's your plan? She goes, I want to take as much money out of the house now. I want to buy a new car. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. The county loses his pen. And she's in her early 80s.
But
Without a doubt,
about reverse mortgage. So can you just clarify a little bit of that? Because when we first heard about reverse mortgages, homes, they did not understand every single aspect of it. That they had to pay their insurance, that they had to pay, the taxes
Yeah.
and everything. So
that is the biggest misconception. People call up and they'll say, "Oh, the bank owns my house the first day." I said, "No, you own your house. We don't change the deed. It's your house to sell down the road when you want to get out of the reverse mortgage. Maybe you want to get out of the reverse mortgage and sell your house and move down south."
Okay.
Which the other thing, which few people know, is that you can do reverse for purchase. I just had a friend of mine. He moved from California to North Carolina, and he wanted to buy his house all cash. I go, why would you do that? Again, no children. They don't have any kids either, which is kind of a strange thing today. They don't have kids. I said, buy it with a reverse. I said, you'll get more, because he wanted to be in like a $350 price bucket. I said, if we do it with a reverse, I mean, you can go from 350, you'll go up to 450, get a bigger house, a nicer house, and then we'll put the reverse for purchase on there. And he put a mortgage on there, and he doesn't make any payments on it. And he's very happy.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I would love not to make any payments.
Yeah, it's what he loves. I mean, and he's budgeted his life. He's got a Social Security, but he's in his late 60s, and he's still working. People are still working today.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, one of the congressmen from here in Connecticut, John Larson, is out there right now talking about Social Security. And he's got a bill to enhance and protect the program. This is a real issue right now.
Yeah.
The solvency of the program is...
The lockbox.
Yeah. So...
Well, and they just got the largest increase. I mean, 8.7%.
8.7. Oh, I was trying to
it's
think of it.
8.7. I mean, we're doing these reverses all the time, and we need that updated Social Security certificate that they all just got. And I've seen 20 of them in the last month, and it's a big increase.
That's huge.
And the thing about that is, it never goes away.
Yeah.
Once that goes, so if inflation goes down next year by 10%, that 8.7 bump up never goes back down. So that's always going to be on their side.
Yeah.
So it did go down for a few people that's on Medicare. So they got the 8.7% bump in Social Security, and their Part B premium, which pays, the doctor visits and all that, went down. It went
really?
from $170.10 per month to $164.90. I've never seen it go down.
Yeah, nothing goes down.
So, no.
Let's see, $10, that's 2 Starbucks coffees, maybe.
Well, I mean, still, it went down.
Yeah.
Even if it's point whatever percent, it went down. So if I wanted information on a reverse mortgage, and I just called you up and just said, I'm looking to put more money into my house, more money into my pocket, and I have equity in my home, what would be step 1, 2, 3? What would you tell these people so that they have all the information they need to know about a reverse mortgage?
First step is name, address, where you live, what do we think the house value is. We do a quick internal, we do Zillow, we have some other internal, a CDA. I come up with a value, I get a loan amount that I believe that they're going to get based on the value and their age. We put out a proposal. First thing they must do after we send them the proposal is they must do their FHA housing counselor. Okay. That is the most important step. I can't go any further because the government wants to make sure that people understand the program. They want to hear it from, I guess, someone that doesn't have a dog in the fight, right? They want someone else outside of the person originating the loan.
Exactly.
An impartial observer.
Yep.
And they do their counseling.
Do you remember, we actually, it took me a long time to get a counselor on the air with us.
So
we had a
busy.
counselor on the radio
So
with us. And it was hard to find one because they're so backed up doing these interviews.
Yeah. And it is an interview. And it takes a while. The average interview is anywhere but no less than an hour to 90 minutes to a little bit longer.
Well,
that's a long conversation.
I think that's a good thing because that gives the seniors or the client or prospects or whatever you want to call them all of the information.
Exactly.
Opportunity to ask any questions so that there are no surprises. You know what you're going to have to do. And that's just
and what they're responsible for is very well said, because most
Yeah.
people don't realize that they have to keep up with the taxes and the insurance. And that's really what happened in the beginning. The government took over the program in the 80s. There was some proprietary loans, but people just didn't pay their taxes and the insurance. And now FHA makes sure that's done.
Well, they didn't know. I think they didn't know that they had to pay it because when you pay your mortgage, it's all included. So
Correct.
They didn't think about it. So you need the professional to tell them, before this transaction takes place, that you have to do A, B, and C because that's your responsibility as a professional. Like when I go in to talk about Medicare, I let them know what fixed pays they're going to have to pay, what is the maximum annual out-of-pocket cost, and a lot of agents don't do that. And when they go into like maybe a rehab and they're there more than 21 days and they start paying a $180 a day, they're like, "What's this charge?"
Might as well go to the Ritz-Carlton. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's our responsibility because they don't know what questions to ask. So we have to answer the questions that they do not know to ask.
That's right. Fill in the blanks.
Yes.
And that's what the counseling
well
does.
said.
And the counseling, and
Yeah.
I do a very good job up front. I've been doing this for a while. We've closed many of them. And people come back to me and they go, Charlie, you did a very good job, but I had some further questions and I found out from the counselor. I said, great.
Good.
And I've never had anyone get counseling and then call me back and say, no, I don't want to do it.
Interesting, really.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we're thinking about that now. No one has ever said, no, it's not for me. Because the counselor just locks it in because they're already at that point in their life where they've got the equity and they want to get rid of the payment and need some extra cash. And the counseling session just cements the whole thing up. And then usually the conversation, hey, I just got my counseling certificate. I get it via email. When can we start?
Nice.
Yeah, that's nice. And then
Like they graduated.
yeah, actually it's it. It's a little certificate. It's funny. It's like a little diploma. And then they say, well, and then I meet them at their home. And then I go see the house. And then I can.
Okay.
Because prior to that, you really shouldn't.
Oh, so you don't go to the house first?
No,
Oh,
most of that I do. It's
Okay.
just an initial phone conversation. And what FHA is big on safety and security. Like we have one in Pennsylvania that we're doing. There's some peeling paint, and there was some handrails because you got to remember there were seniors in the house, so they want handrails installed. They want paint to be chipped. There's a stair that needs to be done. That's why I go to the house after they do the counseling. I go meet them at their home. I meet them. We talk further. We take the application, and then I walk through the property, and then I get a visual of what I believe the FHA appraiser is going to comment on. So this way, everyone knows going forward. I say, we're going to have to probably take care of this and this and this. And they go, okay. And this way they know. So this way they don't do the appraisal and then, they find out 2 weeks later that all this work has to be done. And that's
Exactly.
important.
What are the things that you look for when you walk through?
Peeling paint,
Yeah.
handrails, the circuit breakers in the bathroom, make sure there are circuit breakers in the bathroom, and just FHA safety things.
Vanita and I have talked about things, how devastating something like a fire could be in a home. And
Smoke detectors,
Yeah.
yes. And FHA looks for that.
But those circuit breakers, boy, that's
They save lives.
yeah.
They really do. That's important. And peeling paint is a big one. FHA is really big on peeling paint. If your house is built prior to '76, you may have lead paint. There's a whole thing that goes along with that. We haven't bumped up into that, but peeling paint is a big one. And banisters, handrails, just to keep the senior safe so that they're in the house.
Right,
And
I hear you.
Living their best life, as you like to say, their best
I
retirement.
love
ever.
that saying.
Yeah, that's it.
Another one that I had from one of the conferences that I attended. Now borrowers can choose to live close to family instead of with family.
Well,
I
that's
bet you a lot of people
Nah,
would
yes,
love that.
right.
well, that's the FHA. Well, that's the HECM for purchase.
Yeah.
Which people didn't, not as much up here, but we do them in Florida where, in the Carolinas where it's more of a retirement zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say to the agent, I'll say, if they want to come in, they'll do it as a reverse for purchase. And they go, what's that? And I go, exactly like putting in if you own the house. Instead, they buy it and they use the HECM money as the purchase money mortgage. And they go, wow, can you do that? And I go, yeah. He goes, send me more information.
That's interesting because that you do it nationally.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah,
number one.
we're licensed in every state.
Yeah.
We close them all over the place.
So there's, I sit down with a lot of folks that retire around 65 or whatever, and they have their house here in Connecticut, but they're moving, I don't know, to North Carolina, Charleston or something like that.
Big spot.
So the house here, they've lived here, I don't know, 30, 40 years, is probably paid off.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably over 62 to 65, and then they're moving to Charleston to buy a new house. Would you recommend that they use the reverse mortgage
Yeah.
for something like
Well-
that, and then just live comfortably during their retirement? Because I know a lot of people are looking to pay for homes in cash. Because you have a house in Connecticut, you could easily move to North Carolina and pay cash. Why do that if you?
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Let's say you sell a house in Connecticut for $400. And,
Right.
My buddy, take North Carolina. He just went in. What did he pay? $350. And he was going to put all the cash down.
Yeah.
That was his plan.
A lot of people do
And I
that.
was like, well, why would you do that? I said, we'll put a reverse. He was in early 70s. I don't remember the loan amount. And I said, you're going to have, instead of plunking down $350, you're going to put down maybe half of that. And that half that you don't have to put down, that's going to stay in the bank. Interest rates are up, right? He goes, oh yeah, I could put that money in a CD and earn 5.5 and 6. I said, do it.
That's right.
And he's still not making a mortgage payment.
Yep.
And he's, when I turned him on to this back in January, February, and he was another one. He said, "Can you do that? I've never heard of that." And I said, "Yeah, we do them all the time." But that's it. That's why the show is here.
Yeah.
To get the knowledge base out. Yeah.
I remember hearing John say, I think it was you. I talked to so many people. 2 things you don't want to run out of. And what are
Time and money.
It was you.
Yeah. Well, I've seen it. I mean, I've seen it with my family.
Yeah, that was on your side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People are living a very long time.
Longer than their money.
In the life insurance business, they say, and they are the life insurance people, that the first person to live to 150 has already been born.
Yeah, I've
Wow.
seen that.
Well, then they better get their finances in order, because it's not
Exactly.
cheap to grow old.
Exactly. And you're going to need some help. You're going to need that long-term care plan.
Yes, that's
Our
super
bodies are
important.
frail, and we're going to need help. And that's another thing that you can do with reverse
Yes,
mortgage.
and we've talked about that.
Yes, we
And
did.
In fact, it's
I was wrong. I thought
Yeah.
you couldn't do annuities. I
Yeah,
was
no,
wrong.
yeah, I remember I said
That doesn't
to you.
happen much, so.
It was the only time. But we have a form. It's part of the application.
Yeah,
Do
you
you
told me that.
intend to purchase an annuity or an insurance product with this? Yes, no. And the government says there's nothing wrong with that. It's your money.
It is. You
It's
can
like
do
I
whatever
sound like
you
the
want.
commercial, right? It's your money. Spend it the way you
But
want
no,
to.
but that's why we're here, is to differentiate ourselves from the commercials. Because,
Exactly.
unfortunately, as we've discussed, there's been bad actors in this field.
in every field.
And not all the information. There's a lot of fine print in those commercials. I need cash now,
Yeah.
but what's the interest rate? 10%?
11,
Or I mean,
12,
what do
rates are
you know?
up.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. So I'm just saying.
I find, in my experience, most seniors are not that. I shouldn't say most. There's a big bunch that aren't technologically savvy, and they don't want to deal with an 800 number for a call center in the middle of America. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some people will. And there's a large segment of seniors that want someone to come to their house, sit down with them, they have questions, and do it the old-fashioned way.
That's what I do.
Yeah, and that's what we
Call
do.
me.
And that's and the benefit of that again is that I get to see the house, and that's why I always say, "Yeah, I'll come to you.
Yeah.
I'll come to the house," and they go, "Okay," and we have a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, a glass of water, and and we just go through the application, and they're very happy. I also find that. I mean, it is a mortgage product like anything else. There's always a hiccup. It just is. It's the mortgage industry. And the rapport that you build with them in that first meeting, that's the rapport, that's the cement that cements the relationship when you hit a bump down the road 3 weeks later, when I call them and say, hey, we have an issue, we have to do this, this, and this. But they've met me, and they say, okay, thanks for letting me know, Charlie, we can work this through together. And that's gold.
It's a warm appointment because you've already met them. They've already spoken to you. So.
And as we've discussed over and over, there's nothing more emotional than someone's health, home, money.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all emotion.
Yeah, and people call. A woman just called me this week from last year. We closed her last year. She goes, "Oh, it's 1 year. I get my second tranche of credit because you get a big chunk in the first 12 months, and then on month 13 you get more." So she
More money?
Yeah, more money, more money, more money. And she said, "How do I get?" I said, "How do I get it?" I said, "You got to call the servicing agent and just tell them you want to draw down some more funds."
Wow.
And she goes, "Wow, that's easy." I go,
That's
"Yeah,
awesome.
it's pretty easy."
It's like an annuity. You
Yeah,
get,
kind
you get
of.
your 10%
Yeah.
without surrender charges. Wow.
Yeah.
So I would recommend, whoever's watching this, share this information. It's on YouTube. Tell everybody that that's a senior, and you can call and get free information from an experienced representative.
It takes 5 minutes.
It
We do
takes 5 minutes.
If it's not, it could be for your grandparents, aunts, uncles. They don't have to be living in, you could have family members living in retirement communities that are struggling. We just had a woman call the other day. Condo's free and clear. She's going to be 100.
Oh,
and
wow.
she's run out
God
of money.
bless, God
and the
bless.
kids can't fund it anymore.
Yeah. Exactly. And if you need long-term care, this could pay for it. So we have about 1 minute left. I'm going to leave it to you.
Hey, I just wanted to say, if you're looking for a good social media follow Vanita.
Yes.
Follow us.
Yes,
You know,
follow
no, but
the 18.
she put up something a couple of days ago. It was a banana pudding. I'm still talking
It was
about
a banana pudding I made
Boy,
for
did that
my...
look good.
Did you make it?
Oh, she didn't give the recipe.
Oh, that's our secret recipe. You'll have to get it at the fish
Happy
fry.
summer. Yeah, I hope everyone's enjoying their summer.
Thank
It's
you.
hard to imagine it's the end of July.
Yeah,
already.
I
Don't
know.
rush
Like
it.
that.
Don't rush it.
It goes fast.
Yep. So to get your information, the phone number's on the screen. Give us a
One
call.
call does it all.
One call. Thank you. One call does it all. And I want to thank you for being on the show once again. We will have them back again in a couple months or whenever you guys are available.
Will it be a cooler day? It's kind of hot out
I
today.
can't control the weather. That's Mother Nature. So this is the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show, and we're on your side.